President's executive order nationwide. But opponents say if the administration wins here and the executive order takes effect nationally, thousands of children born in the U.S. could face deportation or be rendered stateless.
President Trump's order seeks to prevent the issuance of things like passports and Social Security numbers to kids born here in the U.S. if their parents are not here legally. A new criminal probe opened against United Healthcare. News Nation's Nick Smith has the update.
The Wall Street Journal reports the Justice Department is investigating United Health Group for possible Medicare fraud. The report says the DOJ is focusing on business practices centered on the company's Medicare Advantage program. This comes just days after CEO Andrew Whitty left the company and United Health suspended its 2025 financial forecast. In a statement, the company says it hasn't been notified of any investigation and it stands by the practices of its Medicare Advantage program.
The company quickly announced the new CEO as Stephen Hemsley. He's familiar. He was CEO previously from 2006 to 2017. New data indicates consumers spent a little bit more last month.
The Commerce Department says retail sales inched up 0.1% in April, a far cry from the 1.7% jump in March when consumers rushed to buy cars before President Trump's auto tariffs kicked in.
Shoppers are feeling unsettled, cautious.
Wendy Liebman is the CEO of WSL Strategic Retail.
They're focusing on essentials.
Consumers and retailers are facing a lot of uncertainty, not knowing how the tariffs will shake out. Walmart announced this morning it may have to raise its prices. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Time for news about your money. Here's the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. It is a rough one on Wall Street right now. The Dow is down nearly 71 points to 41,980. S&P 500 is down 10 points to 5,882. And the NASDAQ is down nearly 110 points to 19,037. We'll see how the day goes. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 10:04.
Okay, adventurers, listen up. Fox World Travel just dropped some seriously incredible Fox Group vacation destinations for 2026. Set sail on a yacht through the Croatian coastline, join a thrilling African safari, or immerse yourself in the mecca of all flower shows in London. And for the first time, we're introducing a woman's-only tour, partnering with Insight Vacations, Globus, and African Travel. But these are just a few of the exclusive offerings. But don't wait. They're filling up fast. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO to reserve your spot today.
Save big on everything for your next painting project when you shop at Menards. Pittsburgh's premier is an interior paint and primer in one that provides excellent all-around performance in an easy-to-clean, durable finish. Save big money on Pittsburgh's premier paint now at Menards. Plus, don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Get eyewear for everything you do at Shopco Optical. Schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam, check out new frame styles, and order your annual supply of contact lenses all in one place. Enjoy the time and attention your eyes deserve at Shopco Optical. Receive quality eye care and a personalized vision solution tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
Hey there, Brewers fans. We've got a new way for you to watch the Brew Crew this season.
FanDuel Sports Network.
And now there are more ways to watch the Brewers than ever before. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream all the action. Or, new this season, Brewers Baseball is now available on Amazon Prime Video as an add-on subscription. You can also access FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers, including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. Visit
GetMyHomeTeams.com
to learn more.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. For the first time in Matt LaFleur's tenure, the Packers will open the season at home. The Packers host the Detroit Lions Sunday, September 7th.
The Packers stay at home in Week 2 for a Thursday night matchup against the Washington Commanders. Other primetime games include Sunday night football matchups in Week 4 at Dallas and Week 8 at Pittsburgh. The Packers matchup in Week 10, a home game against the defending champion Eagles on Monday Night Football. From November 23rd until the end of the season, the Packers will play 5 games against NFC North Division opponents, including Thanksgiving at Detroit and the final week of the season at Minnesota. Greg Matzek, WTMJ News.
Two of the Packers' 3 preseason games will also be at home. The bye week comes early in Week 5. The Milwaukee Brewers are off today after dropping 2 of 3 to the Guardians. Milwaukee takes on the Twins next, starting tomorrow at American Family Field. And the Milwaukee Admirals head to Texas to open the AHL Central Division Finals against the Stars. Good luck to them. Checking out the roads with your WTMJ time saver traffic. We're not doing too bad. In fact, the only incident right now on the system is in Kenosha County. There's a disabled vehicle on the ramp from County E to 4194. And while this isn't an incident, I do want to let you know, just in case you're headed that way, it's not new, but it is a problem. 41, right around the Mayfair area, all that construction, it's definitely slowing things down. It's not too bad. But as you get past I-94 and you head up towards the Butler area and Hampton Avenue, there are some significant slowdowns. So again, nothing new. It's just because of the construction, but we are seeing slowdowns once again today on 41. Here's the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, partly cloudy, but tonight, take note, severe storms are possible. Keep an eye on the weather. Today, we have a high of 75 by the lake, 86 inland. Tonight, we'll dip to 55 for the low. Tomorrow, it's Friday. Partly cloudy, windy, and warm. We do have a chance for showers in the evening hours tomorrow as well. Saturday, partly cloudy and breezy, high of 63. Sunday, partly cloudy and cool, high of 55. Come Monday, partly cloudy and cool again, high of 54. It's currently 56 and foggy in Sheboygan, also foggy in Kenosha at 64, and 56 and foggy right here in downtown Milwaukee. I'm Jessica Ty, Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristen Bride.
Good morning, everybody. Kristen is on assignment, as they say. She's actually had a speaking engagement in Madison last night. I think she has another one tonight as well. She'll be back in studio tomorrow as we wind it up with Bill and Joe, as we wind up the week in politics, as we often do, or always do, I should say, with the Political Power Hour, first of 2 hours every day on Point Taken. A word about the weather. I mean, I'm always fascinated by the response in the text line about weather reports. Getting mad about the weather is never a good idea. I don't really understand the anger there. But I would always trust someone who's educated, trained, experienced in weather data and the analytics of what that job is before I would ever trust the texter on weather reporting. But just, I think the point is, for all of us who are in news, and I'm not a journalist by any stretch of the imagination, but all of us who report the news and talk about the news, and on days like today, talk about the weather, you should be aware that there's a potential for severe storms. And then I think that's just the smart thing to be aware of, and that sometimes you have to take precautions, especially with, if our tornadic weather becomes part of that story, or hail can be very damaging as well, as I learned last year with that hailstorm in May. So just a word of the wise, pay attention to the radio, pay attention to 620 WTMJ, because we will keep you up to date on the latest on the storms. I hope it goes north, but as we've learned previously, sometimes when you think you're not going to get it, you get it, and vice versa. So please pay attention to the weather reports that we will have for you throughout the day on WTMJ. A busy show today. 11 o'clock hour. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the T's here, but the 11 o'clock hour, Jeremy Janine from Urban Milwaukee will join us. Always great at sort of recapping the local stories, local politics, development, even I think we have some 794 stuff in there today. So he'll be here in the 11 o'clock hour. At 10:35, Leo Krenz from Krenz Hannon International Import-Export Company will join us, sort of giving us a real-life perspective, real-time on what actually is going on at the ports, with trade, imports, exports, what's the real impact from someone who actually works there? I mean, there's so many people speculating on this stuff. And even the tariff question. And this is sort of where I want to lead this half hour, because Chris and I talked a little bit about this the other day, maybe it was 2 days ago, about the perception that I have that maybe Donald Trump, President of the United States, isn't getting enough credit for actually accomplishing some things. Now, a lot of this is often viewed from the lens of perception versus reality. But if the public perceives something, that goodwill, that good news can certainly propel a president to higher favorability ratings and higher performance when it comes time for midterm elections and the like. I'm not saying that's going to happen yet because we're still way away from that. But when you see for the first time in 5 years, prices are lower, consumer prices dropping significantly, even with the tariff uncertainty, and which we'll talk about at 10:35. Even in that area, there's some bad news. Walmart says they'll raise prices based on tariffs. I've heard that from some other manufacturers and businesses as well. So I think there's a way to look at this question without the prism of your party affiliation and just say, okay, so what's going on? What are the things we talked about in the run-up to this election in November, presidential election? Well, we certainly had all the drama on the Democratic side with the departure of President Biden, replacement by Vice President Kamala Harris. We know how that turned out. And I've said for the record many times that was a ill-fated process that was probably doomed for failure when they made that decision. But set that aside. President Donald J. Trump won the election fairly and squarely. Just because I want to be on the record, just like Joe Biden won the election fairly and squarely 4 years prior. But do we look at politics? It's the question. It's this age-old question: is all politics personal? Do you have to hate the president if he's not in your party? Do you have to love this president if they are in your party? And I would say the answer for me is no. You look at the pieces of the story. What are we talking about? Today, the Supreme Court hearing arguments on birthright citizenship. I've been pretty clear on where I stand on that. Guaranteed rights. If you're born here, you're a citizen. End of story, my opinion. So I think when you look at the tenure of Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, second term, easy to say, lots of uncertainty. Easy to say, tremendous number of executive orders and actions, unlike anything we've ever seen in recent history, on all kinds of issues. Some are so far out of the norm that I don't think they'll ever survive a legal test. Certainly any opportunity by Congress to put the stamp of approval on whatever those executive actions or orders are. But the tariff one is interesting to me. Because as I look today, 401ks are rebounding. Markets looking better. S&P now above where it was at the beginning of the year. Those are standards and measures and real numbers that should matter to you when you look and assess a president. I'm under no illusion that someone who does not like Donald Trump's all of a sudden going to like Donald Trump. For a lot of people, that's a bridge too far, a line they will not cross. And, I look at the impact on our budgets. And if your 401k, and Texas said their 401k is tanking, well, then you might have to want to look at your investments. S&P's up for the year. Markets have really rebounded in the last few weeks since the now famous Liberation Day, which saw a massive decline. These are things you have to look at with a more critical eye than just your party affiliation. So many talking heads, TV, radio, they spend all their time making a political point and not actually just looking at the facts of the case. You can't complain about the markets and not talk about the fact that they've rebounded for the most part. You can't just throw tariffs out there as a bad thing and not say, okay, are we going to get to a deal with China? Perhaps. We don't have a deal yet. We have frameworks for deals, which is sort of a concept that Donald Trump likes to throw out on occasion. If that's real, we're going to find out. Because if these tariff concepts or deals are not real, I know that one group that will suffer, and that's the American consumer. They will pay the price, literally, for the increased cost of goods passed on by the companies who are having to pay these higher prices for materials, resources, products that they then sell to you. Lots to talk about on this Thursday. 855-616-1624. Your thoughts and texts. Take a quick break here. Listening, of course, to 620 WTMJ.
Hey, check us out, Wisconsin. We have got you covered on Experience Wisconsin. We've got a great show coming up this week. I love what we do here. We spin you around the state, take you to the people and places and things that are happening that make Wisconsin so super special. On this week's show, which, by the way, is Saturdays at 1 on WTMJ, we've got a triple header for you. Kenosha, Sheboygan, and Lake Geneva. Fun on the water, fun on the land, hotels and restaurants. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturdays at 1 on WTMJ.
WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi here for Milwaukee Weight Loss. Been on this journey now for 3+ months. 40 pounds. Yes, 40 pounds. The secret, by the way, to losing up to a pound of fat every day. It works. Their doctors developed easy-to-follow weight loss program. I can follow it. You certainly can. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely. No drugs or injections with the risk of serious side effects. No prepackaged meals, bars, shakes. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to. Their program helps reset your metabolism. That's what it did for me. So you can keep the weight off for good. Coaches for ongoing support. Mine's Emily. She's fantastic. Their program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. You can find out about it at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com and schedule, by the way, your free consultation. Start with the conversation. Always a good idea. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. I did it. You can too. Here's what you got to do. Call 262-449-1180. 262-449-1180. Or go online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Thanks for tuning in on this Thursday. Kristen Bryan will be back tomorrow as we celebrate the week in politics with Joe Zepecki and Bill McCoshen. I love the text line. I'm going to give you a sample. There's a lot of. I always get a lot of text, so I'm going to give you a sample. There are no tariffs on things made here, harvested here. I get your points. I'm a big fan of Made in the USA. Try to always buy things made in the USA. That's not a perfect science, though. Some things aren't made here. And some of our food imports that we really like aren't produced here, are grown here as well. The issue of Trump's is an interesting one. That's why I want to spend this second talking about that. I'm not asking you to like him. I didn't vote for him. I think he can be dangerous on many fronts. I think he's ill-informed, including on tariffs, or at least out of date on what he thinks about tariffs. Texas says, I cannot stand the man as a person. I'm not asking you to like him. Here's the deal, though. He's the president of the United States. And as popular as those bumper stickers I saw on yesterday or the day before, not my president, and those are not unique to Donald Trump. We saw it under Joe Biden as well. It's a reality that Donald Trump will be our president until the next presidential election in 2028. Actually, just after that, in January of 29. And I probably got 10 texts that say this on the Citing Unlimited WTMJ talking text line. The market just regained what it lost. Well, actually, the S&P's up. I want you to think without that lens of politics. I know it's hard to do because so much of talk radio that's what it is, right? It's noise produced by people who have never had real jobs outside of broadcasting, talking about many things on a superficial level. And I get it works. People make a lot of money doing that. Yeah, that's cool. I prefer to have a more knowledge-based, fact-based, analytics-based analysis. It doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here and read stats to you. I read those stats, but that's boring, and we're not doing that. I'm giving you a high-level analysis that says the market has rebounded. My friend Dave Spano at Annex Wealth Management pretty much nailed it. There's some uncertainty over tariffs. In the long run, that shakes out. People see opportunity when the market drops a bit. Good bargains for solid companies to invest in. Always starts with a plan, as he'll remind you. But unless we get to a point, and this is the big picture piece, unless we get to a point where people are willing to take the personality out. I know we're completely pegged on the old personality meter to the other side of the equation. It's all personality now. Donald Trump being a glaring example of that. I get it. But until we get to a point where that's not the motivation, for one, for people to get into politics, for two, for people to decide who they vote for because the person's fun or interesting or whatever, but actually knows what they're doing, we're not going to get out of this mess. I don't care what party you're looking to support. Texter says, this has nothing to do with my party affiliation. I was a Republican. We as humans have to side with humanity or we are all in peril. I don't disagree with you. And if you've been a listener to any of my previous shows or the one I'm on now, Point Taken, pretty clear in my dislike of the actions and the words of this current inhabitant of the White House. But I also acknowledge that he's the president of the United States. Something I think some of us would like to forget sometimes, but that's not how it works. We have elected officials. Generally, they represent one or two parties, one of the two major parties, with some exceptions. There are some independents out there. That's our choice. And when one person wins, one party wins representing that elected official, they have to administer their entire district, their entire state, their entire country. Texter asked about prices. It seems like prices, I just quoted you, lowest in 5 years, the drop. Consumer prices. Pretty good. You can ignore it if you want to, but all of us who pay the grocery bill when we go to the store or buy things for our house, we look pretty closely at those budgets and how we spend our money. Trump can win this argument if he keeps prices down and the markets go up. At least on this side of the equation. There's other things that we're going to talk about in the weeks ahead and the months ahead that I'll differ starkly from what the President of the United States has to say. But on this one, right now, this might be a good week for Donald Trump. We'll ask the guys about that on tomorrow's show. Point taken, 620 WTMJ.
Have you heard a lot of buzz about tariffs?
No.
Really?
What's a tariff?
It's a tax on imported goods.
Well, I've never heard of tariffs because 92.3% of Penny Mustard's furniture is made in the USA.
True.
In fact, most of it is built by local craftsmen and women right here in the Midwest.
And locally sourced furniture will never have a tariff on it.
Can we talk about this later? I'm tired of hearing about these tariffs.
So I guess you can say that all this talk about tariffs is taxing.
PennyMustard.com.
Lake Geneva is the Midwest's premier golf destination, featuring breathtaking views, crystal clear lakes, and rolling fairways. Treat yourself to an all-inclusive golf getaway with courses designed for all skill levels, luxurious lodging, distinctive dining, and a relaxing spa. Plan a Lake Geneva group golf outing, a corporate event, or a weekend getaway with friends or family. Their pros will help you plan a memorable golf experience. For info on courses and more, visit lakegeneva.com today. Lake Geneva, it's always been the place for legendary golf.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. You're going to love this. There's free pizza today at the Amazing Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. Business owners, managers, coaches, listen up. Check this out. Every Thursday, when you buy one pizza, your second pizza's free. Buy 2 pizzas, get 2 free. Buy 5, get 5 free pizzas. You got a big hungry crew. Buy 20 pizzas, get 20 free. Bring in pizza today for your loyal employees and your clients. They'll appreciate you big time. Coaches, bring in your soccer, baseball, basketball, track, tennis team. It's free pizza at the Mine Shaft restaurant. And your players are going to love that world-class game room, super affordable team bonding. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford. It's right off Highway 41 in Oshkosh. 2 locations, easy to get to. Lots of close parking, plenty of seating. And a reminder, the Friday all-you-can-eat fish fry is $7.99. What a crazy low price. So don't cook today. Order now and pick up your pizza shortly, or dine in and enjoy your free Thursday pizza. MineShaftRestaurant.com. Big food, big fun. It's the Mine Shaft.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is here for you, bringing you the latest headlines with John McCure.
We have a new pope, white smoke emerging from the chimney on top of the Sistine Chapel at the Vatican.
And diving into the details with Julia Fellow.
And I watched as worshippers' eyes bulged out as they turned their phones back on to see our next pope is an American.
Tune in to Wisconsin's afternoon news, where your day's story unfolds. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. Only here on WTMJ.
How about that? Half hour's done already. Got the local news coming up with Jessica Ty. You can hear her at middays. Most days with Greg Matzik, although Mike Spalding's filling in today. So, big fan of Mike Spalding, by the way. I miss his voice, his regular voice. I know he'd probably argue that he's just comfortable doing what he's doing, but I appreciate when he's on. So if you're a Mike Spalding fan, boy or girl, you'll have 3 hours of him coming up in a little bit. All right, so we're going to be talking about tariffs, imports, exports, customs clearance, all the things related to that industry. What's happening in our ports? What's the real story? We're going to talk to an expert on the import, exports, and what's happening in our ports from Krenz and Hannon International. Leo Krenz will join us just after the bottom of the hour news. And then we have an entire hour with Jeremy Janine in the 11 o'clock hour, talking about a lot of local stories, politics and otherwise, some transportation stuff, as he always brings it at the high level that he does. He's a great local reporter at urbanmilwaukee.com, and always looking forward to his visits. He'll join us in studio in a little bit. I got a Starbucks update at some point today. I'll tell you about my Hawaii trip. We're almost halfway sold out already. Are you kidding me? Well done, you. If I had my list in front of me, I'd shout out the people who just signed up. 6 people signed up in the last 2 days. Thank you. Appreciate that. And we're still a year and a half away. I was going to say a month and a half. Ooh, year and a half away. I'm looking forward to all of that and all of you and meeting all of you in the great state of Hawaii, my 50th state. Yes, Jazz?
How upset would Rose Gray be with you if it was a month and a half away and you're trying to still get listeners to go with you?
I don't know if upset would be the word. It might be worse than that. But no, we're good. We always sell out our trips. I think I've sold it every trip I've had with Fox World Travel. So it's always been fun to work with them. And this is a great trip to go on. And I'm going to spend a segment talking about it because it's such a unique thing, one, to travel with listeners. I've gotten to know a bunch. There are couples that Kathy and I, we go out to dinner with them all the time. We also do the sort of either reunion meeting or a pre-trip meeting where we gather all the people and we sort of have drinks and some appetizers. We love that stuff. So we got local news coming up with Jessica, and of course now the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Turkey for talks about ending the war. A Russian delegation is also there, but notably absent Russian President Vladimir Putin. ABC's Ian Pannell has more from Istanbul.
These particular peace talks were the idea of one Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. This was his idea, floated in an address to the nation early on Sunday morning. But there was always a question about how serious Russia was about these talks.
President Trump in the UAE telling reporters Putin wouldn't show up unless Trump was there. The president says the U.S. and Iran have, in his words, sort of agreed to the terms of a nuclear deal. The president, however, also saying military action against Iran's nuclear facilities remains a possibility if talks derail. At the Supreme Court, arguments on whether lower courts have the authority to block President Trump's order ending birthright citizenship, the law that says anybody born in the U.S. is automatically a U.S. citizen. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 10:31. I'm Jessica Ty. The big story here, Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan pleads not guilty to federal charges. The hearing took just minutes this morning. Federal prosecutors say Dugan helped an undocumented immigrant avoid ICE agents at the Milwaukee County Courthouse last month. They ended up arresting him anyways. Judge Dugan's trial date is now set for July 21st. Harley-Davidson CEO is here to stay for now. Shareholders have re-elected Jochen Zeitz and two other longtime Harley-Davidson directors after campaigns seeking to oust them. A source close to Harley's second largest shareholder, H Partners Management, tells the Milwaukee Business Journal the margin was razor thin. Zeitz still plans to retire later this year after more than 5 years as Harley's CEO. Mouse droppings found in the school kitchen. The Milwaukee Health Department located rodent droppings in the main kitchen of Pulaski High School after an inspection on Tuesday. The health department ordered the school to cease all kitchen operations for a week until sanitization is complete and all potential entrances for mice are blocked off. There was no evidence of food contamination. Here's the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. We're doing a little bit better than we were when we talked to you about a half hour ago, so that's good news. We'll take it. The Dow is now up 87 points to 42,138. S&P 500 is also up now, nearly 4 points to 5,896. NASDAQ still down, however, down 61 points to 19,085. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I like what I'm seeing for the most part. No big crashes to let you know about. Not even disabled vehicles out in the system. Do want to alert you, however, this is nothing new, but it is a problem. 41. We've got the construction out there. So 41 from Mill Road down to the Mayfair Collection. It is slow. Slower in some spots than others, but slow. And also 41 from Swan up through North Avenue is slow right now, too. And here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. It is still foggy in many spots, but not all right now. Partly cloudy today. But pay attention to the weather because tonight we're going to see scattered severe storms. Today we have a high of 75 by the lake, 86 inland. Tonight those storms will pop up and then we'll dip down to 55 for the low. Tomorrow, happy Friday tomorrow. Partly cloudy, windy and warm. Also have a chance for showers and storms tomorrow night. High of 81 tomorrow. Saturday, partly cloudy and breezy, high of 63. That sounds lovely. Sunday, partly cloudy and cool, high of 55. Monday, partly cloudy and cool as well, a high of 54. We are now up to 71 degrees in Kenosha, and the fog has gone away. It's fair there. Sheboygan, 59 and foggy. Milwaukee, still foggy here, and sitting at 58 degrees. I'm Jessica Ty. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 10:34.
Hi, this is Julie Coombs and Cindy Storm Fisher with Storm Fisher Investment Group. Are you a retiring professional? Worried about the direction of our economy? About making your money last? Come see what we can do for you. Let us show you how we take care of you to help you have a great retirement. We are at 262-796-8400 or stormfisher.com. See you soon.
Securities offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Osaic Advisory Services LLC. Osaic Advisory. Osaic Wealth and Osaic Advisory are separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, and services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth and Osaic Advisory.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is this weekend only inside the Exposition Center at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Millions of inventory must be sold. Prices are slashed up to 60% off retail, so save thousands. Save big on new hot tubs, spas, and saunas, also cold tubs. Plus, see the Michael Phelps Signature Swim Spas by Master Spas.
Hi, I'm Michael Phelps. Join the swimming revolution.
The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show this weekend only inside the Exposition Center at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Visit 1-800-SPASale.com.
A Blaine's Farm and Fleet original story.
Why is everyone coming on their riding mowers and UTVs?
I figured all the neighbors could use a break from yard work, so I invited them for
a ride-on lawnmower movie?
Or, as I like to say, a movie.
We've got the value you need to do things your way, like 5 quarts of Valvoline full synthetic motor oil as low as $19.99 after mail-in rebate. And check out new Teskey utility and power sport trailers. Blaine's Farm and Fleet, being original.
The legendary Ringo Starr is bringing his all-star band, featuring Steve Lukather from Toto, Men at Work's, Colin Hay, and Hamish Stewart of Average White Band, back to Milwaukee. September 12th, performing at the Miller High Life Theater. 61 years after the Beatles performed in Milwaukee in 1964. We will be giving away one pair of tickets each hour on What's on Tap with me, Sandy Max, this week, Wednesday and Thursday. Tune in for your chance to win. Tickets go on sale starting Friday, May 16th at PabstTheaterGroup.com.
A lot of us who do what I do have spent a lot of time talking about tariffs, the impact of tariffs, what's going on in our country's economy and the world economy. So I know Chris and I both love doing this. We love talking to subject matter experts, and we have one today who lives in that reality. He's from Krenz & Hannon International. He is import manager, customs broker, Leo Krenz, who joins us on the hotline. Good morning, Leo.
Hey, good morning, Steve. How are you?
I am good. I am great on this day. So a couple sort of general questions. I'd like to know from your experience, your day-to-day life, doing what you do, your company's experience as a result of sort of what I would describe as tariff uncertainty.
Sure. And to give you a little background, Steve, we're dealing with importers and exporters every day. We're a licensed customs broker and freight forwarder dealing on both the freight side and helping import customers clear their shipments through U.S. Customs. So this is exactly what we're doing. And we're right in the middle of all of the hecticness. Right now, there's so much uncertainty in the industry. A lot of our customers just don't know how to deal with it. I mean, every day the regulations are changing. Every day there's clarity coming out from the powers that be, so the White House and U.S. Customs, which is causing more confusion. It's extremely challenging for our importers to plan. And then on top of that, now as things are changing, the freight market has been completely out of whack. So it's been nothing short of crazy these last few months here, Steve.
So what I'm hearing from some other people that I've talked to, or at least read some of the things they're talking about, is the impact on ports, the actual containers. I know you guys actually do a lot with the individual containers for businesses that actually price that out for people. What's happening in ports right now, real time, and like the shipping traffic numbers? What's coming back from China? What's going out of the United States? What are those numbers saying to you?
Sure. So we're seeing something that we've seen in the past, but only once in recent histories. We're seeing a very, very significant drop-off in import freight from China primarily, but around the world. I mean, these tariffs aren't they're affecting all countries. The baseline tariff of 10% on all products specifically, but the Chinese tariff over the last couple months, everyone's aware that the presidential administration has added some significant tariffs that over the weekend a trade deal has been struck that have pushed those off. I'll call them paused. But what that's done is it's just cratered the ocean freight market, and it's caused steamship lines to have to cancel vessels. There's a significant drop-off in import freight coming into our ports. So we're seeing this very, very, very big slowdown right now. Now, as the tariffs have been removed, or I'll call them paused again, now we're seeing a very, very, very sharp rise and increase. We saw something similar to this during COVID when at the initial stages of COVID, there was that shutdown phase where importers and businesses like kind of had to take a pause and say, we're not going to import right now. We don't know where this thing's going. And that's what they've done these last few months. And what the cause of that was last time was a bullwhip effect that all of this freight came into the ports at the same times. We saw congestion, rail car shortages, container shortages in China. And if I had a crystal ball, I would expect the same thing is going to happen here because we're seeing these rampant volume increases. And importers are saying, especially with just the pause, because it's not the tariffs haven't been canceled, they've just been paused. They're saying we need to ship right now because we don't know what the future is going to hold.
Import manager, customs broker Leo Krenz joining us from Krenz & Hannon International on WTMJ. I want to take a break here because there's a bunch of other questions I want to ask you. I want to give our audience a chance to refresh. We will continue the conversation with Leo Krenz. You're listening, of course, to Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Yeah, when you say your Hasselus mattress showrooms are employee-free, you don't really mean it, right?
Of course we mean it. No employees. Give the mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Why no employees?
To save you money.
How much money?
Well, others sell a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Elm Cove B Queen for $16.59, but the everyday Hasselus price is just $8.42.
Whoa, Nelly.
We also have way low pricing on our selection of Sealy Posturepedic and more.
Well, that's pretty good.
And through Monday, purchase a select Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic mattress in any size and receive a free adjustable base.
That's exceptionally good.
Plus, free next day delivery, removal and setup of your new mattress, and free financing is available too.
All because your showrooms are employee-free?
Yes, sir.
I like the way you do business.
Get a free adjustable base now through Monday at Hasselus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Get all the details and find the self-service employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. Don't miss Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium on Wednesday, June 4th at Elmbrick Church in Brookfield from 8:30 to 3 p.m. This is a free and fun event for older adults 55 plus that celebrates active aging, featuring speakers like John McGivern and Jennifer Bartolotta, exhibitors, goat yoga, speed friending, raffles, food, music, and much more. Make the day your own. Pre-register at enjoylifesymposium.com. That's enjoylifesymposium.com.
Jake suffered with carpal tunnel syndrome.
Tingling numbness in my hands and fingers, not sleeping well at night, tossing and turning, trying to manage with pain pills and stretching, and it just wasn't helping.
He didn't want the traditional invasive carpal tunnel surgery.
I had seen people with the bandages and scars and clubs for hands. I just don't have time to be incapable of doing things for 6 to 8 to 10 weeks.
Then he learned about the Ovation Hand Institute and the Ovation Technique, an ultra minimally invasive procedure done in the office.
I wanted to get it looked at sooner than later. So I had the virtual consult. It was very thorough as far as like I was sitting in a doctor's office. I was booked for the procedure 2 weeks later, had my right hand done. Very quick procedure. It was really great. That very night when I went home, it was the first time in probably 3 months my hand did not wake me up.
Book an appointment with the Ovation Hand Institute and find out if you're a candidate for the Ovation Technique.
Probably the most surprising thing was how quickly I was able to do things again. I'm cooking dinner, I'm doing yard work and all that kind of stuff the next day.
Visit ovationhand.com. ovationhand.com.
Spring is in the air, the perfect time to kickstart those home improvement dreams. Hi, Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. They're your local experts in stylish, energy-efficient upgrades. Boost your curb appeal and add real value with top brands like Pella, Anderson, Marvin, and more. All customized to fit your home and your style. Wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, they've got it all. And their newly remodeled New Berlin showroom is the place to start. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. Visit hometownwindows.com today.
The Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center is here in New Berlin, and it's ready for you and your team. From little leaguers to hardcore players and trainers, this is the place you'll want to be.
You can't beat Burghardt.
Continuing our conversation with Leo Krenz from Krenz and Hanna International, a port manager, customs broker. I'm always fascinated by the relationship between small business, and I would classify you as a small business, but you do big things for businesses, small and large, manufacturers, small companies. What are those folks telling you, even at the local level? I know you do a lot of work here in southeastern Wisconsin and in Wisconsin, Midwest. What are those managers, CEOs, company owners telling you?
Sure, Steve. And you're right. We do business with companies, small and large, all over the world, primarily Midwest-based, but all over the world. And what we're seeing is, I mentioned before the uncertainty in the industry, but what is certain is the heightened cost of importing, especially from China. So what we're seeing is a lot of prospective supply chain retooling, I'll call it. A lot of companies are trying to figure out the best way to source their materials. And it's been clear now, more now than it ever has been, that China's been targeted by the presidential administration to fight the trade deficit we have with them. So it's clear that everybody knows this, and they're looking for alternatives. Some of our clients, some of our importing clients are lucky, and they have possibilities of finding vendors that are in other countries outside of China. Some aren't. Some that's where the products that they're importing are made. There's no other options. So one thing we're seeing too is we are seeing a lot of imports from other countries that are not China, but have relationships with China. So if you really look and dig into the numbers, a lot of this stuff is still being made in China. It's just being moved to other countries, having tariff changes and country of origin changes with manufacturing processes and being shipped from there. So ultimately, a lot of these goods still come from China, but there's definitely been a lot of supply chain retooling going on right now.
You mentioned the pandemic. You mentioned the bullwhip effects. What's different about it this time, other than the fact that it's coming from one person, the President of the United States? Is there other differences in how this is playing out?
Yeah, that's a great question. One big difference is there was rampant demand after the pandemic. So there were all of the issues I mentioned, but the driver of it was the bullwhip and the fact that everything was shut down for a while. But we saw crazy demand for international shipping and importing. That's still to be seen here. We'll see if the demand will mirror that. My inclination would be not, because of the heightened cost of the importing, but that would be the first thing that I would say.
I'm going to give you an opportunity as we close it out. If you could speak to the President of the United States, I don't want it to be a political conversation. I'm just, as someone who does what you do for a living, who sees the numbers, talks to these small businesses, large businesses, manufacturers, what would you suggest to the president if he wants to do something about tariffs? What would be the right strategy, and how that would impact all the folks you deal with on a daily basis? So you have the floor.
That's a great question. As you can imagine, this comes up a lot. It isn't a political issue, but it is a political issue, unfortunately.
Sure.
What I would say is slow down. Everything that we've seen from the implementation standpoint of these tariffs has been rushed. Dare I say haphazard from a U.S. Customs standpoint. They can't keep up with the pace of this, and it's just causing challenges within our industry. Programming specifically through U.S. Customs system, where all these entries are being submitted and duties being calculated, they're not able to accept all of these additional tariff numbers. There's coding errors where one day we'll submit an entry and it'll pass through flying colors, and the next day we'll submit the exact same entry with and it'll get rejected, and we're on the phone for hours trying to talk with our software service provider why Customs is rejecting it. It's been a complete headache from our side as customs brokers, and everything seems unnecessarily rushed. You can understand some of the objectives, but the pace just has been challenging for everybody in the industry.
I love it. Real life, real time, someone who actually does it for a living. Leo Krenz, Krenz and Hanna International. Let's check back in a couple months and see where we're at, okay?
Definitely. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Leo Krenz and Hanna International. Good stuff. Good content. I mean, geez. That's somebody who does... We fall in love with talkers in this country, and I understand the irony of that because I'm a talker. But that's why we bring subject matter experts on the show, because they actually give us real information in real time. That's the difference. And you heard him say it. It doesn't have to be political. Kind of going back to my first half-hour conversation. Whether you love the president or not, he's president. Things he does will impact your life, whether you voted for him or not. Love the conversation. I'm just getting warmed up. All right, a Starbucks update, because I'm just irritated about this. And some of you probably, I think Vince and Eric were talking a little bit about this. We'll do that after this on 620 WTMJ.
The 2015 Wisconsin men's hoops team gave us all a march to remember.
There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game.
On June 26th, enjoy an intimate celebration with the stars of the run with Made 'em Believe. Presented by M3 Insurance. World-class expertise and individual attention. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe, June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent. Snoring, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. Sound familiar? You don't have to put up with it. I had those issues. But you know what? I did something about it. I didn't just talk about it. I didn't complain about it. I didn't wake up every morning and just say, oh, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. I won't do this, I won't do that. I did something. I went to Advent for a 30-minute visit and asked my questions. I was not a spokesperson. I was just a customer, a client. They added a really simple sleep study And you know what? They figured it out. My problem, now everybody's different problems, different solutions. Mine was sinuses and nasal passages. Breathing triangle, as they call it. After a short procedure done in office, I breathe better than ever. More oxygen going to my brain. That's why I'm so smart. My wife's just going, oh, boy, somebody pop his head right now. But it's true. You need that if you want to wake up rested and refreshed. Take the time to see how Avid can help you. To find it out, breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better. Go to avidknows.com. Schedule an appointment today. Do not wait, because Avid knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Politics, work, daily stressors. Let's take a break from all that and get centered. Christ-centered. I'm Pastor Tim Butker. Join me each week for Christian Crusaders, a broadcast that highlights the gospel, the good news of Jesus, and our belief in the authoritative Word of God. Christ-centered, gospel-oriented, Bible-based Christian Crusaders. Please join us Sundays at 6 a.m. on WTMJ. We'd love to have you worship with us.
Start your weekend tonight with a free dinner at the historic and gorgeous Fox and Hounds Supper Club. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Fox and Hounds. It is the best dining value in the state. Your second dinner is always free. Steak, ribs, seafood, pasta, a big fresh salad, any dinner item on the menu, your second one is free. Desserts and ice cream drinks, yeah, and they're huge. Buy one, get one free. So relax with your favorite beverage in the 8 unique dining rooms or on the patio in the woods. Spectacular views. I love the patio. Celebrate a birthday, an anniversary, or just a quiet dinner with your sweetie. Your second dinner is always free. The Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the beautiful Holy Hill Shrine. The drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is a must-see. Weekends might be too busy. Enjoy your free dinner tonight. And the Friday Fish Fry is all you care to eat and one of the best. Visit foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. Enjoy your free dinner. Tables are open. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs feature helps you stand out and hire fast. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
I'm Brett Matschke, and you're due for service.
Richlands. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Oh, yeah. Now I go to Starbucks, maybe. Point taken on 6-way WTMJ, if you didn't know. Maybe once every 2 weeks now. I used to be a regular customer, and I don't not like or dislike Starbucks, but I just, I don't want to pay. I think it was about $3.80 when I was buying just a regular cup of coffee at Starbucks. Most people don't do that. They buy the other stuff, including you, my friend Jim, who spends a lot of money at Starbucks every morning. He's retired. He's got the money. He can afford it, but you know who I'm talking about. So I saw this headline, and look, I get workers' rights, right to organize, right to be in unions. Here's the headline, AP. More than 1,000 Starbucks baristas go on strike to protest new dress code. 1,000 Starbucks baristas at 75 U.S. stores have gone on strike since Sunday to protest a new company dress code. And what is that dress code, you ask? Well, Starbucks has limits now on what you can wear underneath your green aprons. Everybody knows the green aprons. Iconic look. What they're requiring under the green apron now is a solid black shirt and below the shirt, khaki, black, or blue denim pants or bottoms. Under the previous dress code, the baristas could wear a broader range of dark colors and patterned shirts. Starbucks arguing that the new black shirt requirement or black top requirement would highlight their green aprons, make them stand out, make the logo pop, my words, as their customers try to, as they navigate through the world of coffee. There's a lot of great coffee companies now, a lot of competition. Not an enemy of Starbucks, so don't put me in that category. But at some points, again, not going after unions, not going after workers' rights, but at some point, wear the damn shirt. What is the problem here? Now, maybe Starbucks will give them a 1 or 2 shirt allowance, kick it in on their next paycheck, whatever it is. Wear the damn shirt. Why is this so difficult? Let me answer my own question. Because we love to argue about everything nowadays. We absolutely have to argue about everything. A different response from these Starbucks unions could have been, We love this. We think it's going to really pop our brand. Could we possibly talk about a clothing allowance that would sort of transition into the new world, new reality for our uniforms? Very sensible, opening the conversation. Instead, they've gone on strike. Not over their hourly wage, not over their health benefits, not over whatever perks they have in their contracts. Over the color of their damn shirts. And actually, I think the black and green, I'm looking at a picture of an assembled group of Starbucks workers. It does pop. You can see the logo. Is it the sameness of the uniform that bothers people? Is it too robotic or too mundane if you all dress the same? Couldn't you have like one worker wearing the khaki pants, one wearing the jeans? You could do it on the bottom and not the top. The top is black. It's a black shirt.
I don't know if jeans go well with a black top. I feel like jeans and khakis and a black shirt works very well. That's how it was when the grocery store I worked at.
Yeah. I used to have uniforms in some of my early life jobs. I worked at a grocery store. We had uniforms. Back then, we had to wear a tie and a white shirt. How about that? Did we go on strike? And I was in a union, retail clerks. I believe it was 444 or something like that. We didn't go on strike, or we just wore the damn shirt. Come on, Starbucks employees and Starbucks. Figure it out. I like your coffee. I'm not going to go there every day, but I do like your coffee. All right, we got a break. After the break, the one, the only, Jeremy Janine, UrbanMilwaukee.com. Lots of local stories. We're going to cover them in depth for the next hour. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all the great texts, by the way. You guys are on fire today. Appreciate each and every one of you. I'm responding in the breaks as much as I can. You're listening, of course, to 620 WTMJ. Point taken.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. If you've saved in a 401k or IRA, you might think you're set for retirement. But here's something you need to know. Every dollar you withdraw could be taxed. And with rising government debt, future tax hikes could take an even bigger bite out of your savings. Imagine reaching retirement only to realize the IRS is taking more of your money than you expected. It's one of the biggest risks that retirees face, spending their savings without a plan for taxes. And once you're retired, it's often too late to fix it. That's why I want to help you create a tax strategy now so you can keep more of your hard-earned money. At Drake & Associates, we focus on tax-efficient retirement planning, helping you lower your lifetime tax bill and maximize your retirement income. And right now, I'm offering you a free retirement toolkit, plus a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready, to show you how to keep more of your money working for you, not the IRS. Text TAX to 414-897-9522 to claim your free copies. Don't wait until tax rates rise. Start planning today. Text TAX to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping you keep more of what you've earned.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Highlight your long weekend when the Brewers kick off a 3-game series against the Red Sox on Memorial Day, featuring the best way to start summer, Dollar Hot Dog Day. Keep the summer vibes going into the week as kids and seniors can get 50% off select tickets at the game on Wednesday, May 28th. What's better than a long weekend? Brewers baseball and Dollar Hot Dogs. Find your seats today at Brewers.com.
When I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, every time I come in, it's like a whole new store. It's because new inventory's arriving daily, all kinds of everything. And let me tell you, thrift store prices make buying easy. And helping others at the same time, that's icing on the cake. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 11:01, it is currently 62 degrees. I'm Julia Fallow. Be weather aware tonight, starting from 5 until 8. There's going to be some severe storms, partly cloudy, scattered to severe storms late. A high of 75 at the lake, 86 inland, wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour. Then it could pick up to hurricane-force wind gusts. And the storms could pack some strong tornadoes, so please be aware. We talked to meteorologist Craig Coplain about this. He explains what to expect with these fast-moving storms.
It does look like the setup in the atmosphere is going to be favorable for the development of a few tornadoes with this storm system as it moves in this evening. And even if there aren't tornadoes, damaging thunderstorm winds are going to be probable with the strongest of these storms, and very large hail. There's a possibility of hail larger than golf balls.
Stay with WTMJ for the very latest. Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan just pled not guilty to federal charges. The hearing just minutes ago. Federal prosecutors say Dugan helped an undocumented immigrant avoid ICE agents at a Milwaukee County courthouse last month. They ended up arresting him anyways outside after a short foot chase. Judge Dugan's trial date is now set for July. We are taking a look at where the president is. He continues his tour of the Middle East and participated in a welcome ceremony upon his arrival in Abu Dhabi today. The visit from president is part of a trade tour where he's hoping to build a bridge between the U.S. and a number of Middle Eastern countries. As the president continues his visit to the Gulf states, Israeli airstrikes killed more than 100 people in Gaza. CBS News reporter Linda Greatson reports from Jerusalem.
The Gaza Health Ministry, which is affiliated with Hamas, said that the European hospital in Gaza is out of commission after one of the Israeli airstrikes, leaving cancer patients with no treatment. The Israeli airstrikes come as President Trump said the U.S. should take Gaza and make it a freedom zone. Israel has begun calling up tens of thousands of reservists for a possible renewed large operation in Gaza.
The family of a 30-year-old Atlanta area mother and nurse who was declared brain dead more than 3 months ago says that she's being kept alive because she's pregnant. CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula.
The plan now is to keep Adriana Smith alive until doctors believe her baby can survive outside the womb, likely at 32 weeks gestation. The woman is currently 21 weeks pregnant. Doctors are legally required under Georgia's controversial heartbeat abortion law to keep Smith alive until the fetus reaches viability because the woman is brain dead and no longer is considered at risk to herself. Smith was declared brain dead after medical complications believed to be caused by internal bleeding. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
Time for news about your money in your WTMJ NX Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up more than 0.25%, up 143. S&P 500 is up 13. NASDAQ is down 19. Financial planning at every level. NX Comprehensive Wealth, NX Private Client, NX Ignite. Details at nxwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
You've got several kids, or your job and other commitments keep you buried with work.
Meanwhile, the clutter is piling up at home. How can people stay tidy when their lives are in chaos?
We have a solution to help you chase away the chaos.
Yes. He's Dan, and I'm Katie. Together, we're Inspired Closets.
Our team at Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space via gorgeous closet renovations.
And our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer. Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is this weekend only inside the Exposition Center at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Millions of inventory must be sold. Prices are slashed up to 60% off retail, so save thousands. Save big on new hot tubs, spas, and saunas, also cold tubs. Plus, see the Michael Phelps Signature Swim Spas by Master Spas.
Hi, I'm Michael Phelps. Join the swimming revolution.
The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show this weekend only inside the Exposition Center at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Visit 1-800-SPASale.com.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Steve Scaffidi. I've been on this weight loss journey for about 10 weeks now, currently in the maintenance phase. Hit my goal, 35 pounds. Reached my weight loss goal easy, fast, safely. And I'm going to continue working with a wonderful team at Milwaukee Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. For the first time in Matt LaFleur's tenure, the Packers will open the season at home. Packers host the Detroit Lions Sunday, September 7th.
The Packers stay at home in Week 2 for a Thursday night matchup against the Washington Commanders. Other primetime games include Sunday night football matchups in Week 4 at Dallas and Week 8 at Pittsburgh. The Packers matchup in Week 10, a home game against the defending champion Eagles on Monday Night Football. From November 23rd until the end of the season, the Packers will play 5 games against NFC North Division opponents, including Thanksgiving at Detroit and the final week of the season at Minnesota. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
2 of the Packers' 3 preseason games will be at home. The bye weeks comes in early Week 5. Let's take a look at your roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. 4145 southbound from Appleton to Mayfair Road. Major slowdowns, be aware there. Everything else is normal. Here is your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Please be weather aware. Starting at 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock tonight, severe storms late. Hurricane force wind gusts are expected. Can you believe it? And threatened storms are packing strong possible tornadoes. Be aware. Scattered severe storms late. 75 at the lake, 86 inland will be your high. Then, tomorrow it's going to be windy and warm. Evening showers are possible or storms, a high of 81. Saturday, breezy and cloudy, a high of 63. Sunday, partly cloudy and cool, a high of 55. And it's cool again on Monday, a high of 54. Right now in Kenosha, it's 68 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 70 degrees. And in Madison, it's 77 degrees. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristen Bry.
And Kristen is off on assignment. She'll be back tomorrow with Bill and Joe on our Friday wrap-up of the weekend politics. But he comes here every Thursday, second hour. Jeremy Janine, urbanmilwaukee.com is where you can find his great work. Now, Kristen and I talked a bit about this, I think it was yesterday or the day before. The deadly fire in Milwaukee, it's not the first time this has happened. And the question of sprinklers and, more importantly, should we require, and we know that the law, I think it's pre-79, something like that?
68, I think, is the magic year.
Those buildings do not have to be sprinklered. You can do it if you want to, but as we've talked about, and Chris and I talked about, there's some argument about the cost of that. But I guess the big question for me is, where is this issue going when it comes to Milwaukee leadership, certainly the community itself? What are they saying and talking about on this issue?
I predict future Point Taken episodes, we're going to be talking a lot about, when it comes to Milwaukee Common Council and City of Milwaukee government, the International Building Code, the Uniform Building Code. And what does that actually mean? Because you hit on that, I think it's 68 is the magical year, which after that point, buildings above a certain size had to have sprinklers. Well, that didn't mean retroactively you had to change all that. And you're like, well, that's a basic safety thing. But the building code is always evolving. It's small little things like plumbing. When I tour new apartment buildings, the developers are always pointing out, like, oh, we had to do this little tweak under the sink. And you wouldn't want to immediately make it retroactive. And you and Kristen talked about this yesterday. We're like, we have this cost out there of $3 a square foot. And that seems low when I talk to other people. And there are buildings where it's just going to be logistically very, very hard to get in sprinklers. But I'm talking to Alderman Robert Bauman, who represents the area where the fire occurred, actually even lives near where the fire occurred on 27th and Highland. there's an interest in the Common Council in exploring what can we do to make safety improvements.
And there's no disagreement, because I just talked to Chief Lipsky about this a couple of days ago, that sprinklers work. They save lives. They not just for the residents that are impacted, but for firefighters, and they lower the risk of injury, and they lower the risk of the fire getting out of control. That's why every hotel you see has sprinklers in them, and that's why you see all the new stuff having sprinklers. And I get it, and there is disagreement on cost. But ultimately, when we talk about public safety, in whatever way you want to look at that question, whether it's reckless driving or this issue, it comes down to cost, and then of course who's paying for it. Now, I would argue, and I'm not generally loved by conservatives for saying this, when you have a state budget surplus, that's the moment when you can actually start doing stuff like this. Now, as Kristen pointed out correctly to me yesterday, there are a lot of legislators who are also in the landlord business.
And I don't know if that's exactly what's in play. That's certainly a factor, especially when it comes to sprinkler requirements on small buildings.
Right.
And Steve, I'm sure you don't have sprinklers in your house. I don't have sprinklers in my house. Most people live in a home in Milwaukee that does not have sprinklers, and regardless of the date, is not required to have sprinklers. Right. But when we look at these big buildings, Chief Lipsky has made it clear, yes, this is a safety thing for the residents and for the people trying to put out the fire. It is a huge question on who pays, and ultimately it has to be the people paying the rent.
Do you think ultimately, to use your word, that this is going to become some sort of this is what we're going to do point in the near future? Like, this is what we're going to do in Milwaukee going forward. Could that happen here?
My guess is where this heads in Milwaukee, and this might be different across the state. There are certain triggers. You get a permit for X, well, then you must comply with all these old provisions. And that's how some of these pre-1968 buildings end up with sprinklers in them, is they do some other alteration. Hotels are a great example. They're always getting permits to update everything. So if they don't comply, they're eventually going to have to comply because they're going to get a permit. This building on 27th and Highland hadn't had a permit of, I think it's level 3 is the technical term, for years and years. So it never had to comply. I think we'll see the city tighten the screws down to make it as much as they legally can require sprinklers and other safety improvements.
And chiefs and firefighters will also tell us that it's not just about sprinklers. There's a lot of other things involved in these fires and maintenance, smoke detectors, all these things. There's a lot we can do to make ourselves safer in our own homes, or in the case of some of these larger units, multifamily units that can make everybody more safe. He is Jeremy Janine, Urban Milwaukee. How can folks find your great work?
UrbanMilwaukee.com.
All right. Lots to get to, including I'm going to ask Jeremy this incredible question. What's a boom car? Coming up on 620 WTMJ.
Traffic is sponsored by Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium. Live life to the fullest at Capri's Enjoy Life Symposium on June 4th. This free event for older adults includes speakers, exhibitors, activities, and more. Register at enjoylifesymposium.com.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on May 20th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Baltimore Orioles.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in May 20th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi. For Annex Wealth Management, market chaos in 2025 is shaking up retirement planning. We know that. Volatility is spiking, and every decision counts. It's easy to stumble, but Annex Wealth Management can help steady the course. Retirement planning blends art and science. Savings and investments matter, but aligning your plan with your goals amid today's turbulence is critical. Annex guides you through tough calls, when to claim Social Security, whether Roth conversions make sense, or how to navigate tax strategies in a stormy market. As a fee-only fiduciary, Annex puts you first. No commission-driven agendas. Their team of CFPs, CFAs, CPAs, PhDs, I work with all of them, and attorneys tackle your investment, retirement, estate, and tax plans with expertise. Everyone's different, and Annex understands that. As a client, support's just a visit or call away, but it starts with you taking charge. Visit AnnexWealth.com, click on the now famous Get Started button, just like I did, and start to take control in these volatile times. That's Annex Wealth Management, AnnexWealthManagement.com.
Escape the city and relax at Lake Lawn Resort in beautiful Delavan, Wisconsin. Enjoy outdoor activities on Delavan Lake, tee off at the Lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind at the award-winning Caladora Spa. With both indoor and outdoor pools, there's fun for the whole family. Take a cruise on the Lake Lawn Queen, explore stunning shores and historic landmarks, and enjoy delicious food and drinks on board. Book your stay today at lakelawnresort.com, where everything is better at the lake.
Going to be hot in the city today. Don't forget, as I said at the beginning of the opening of the show, point taken today, pay attention to those weather forecasts. You don't have to like what they're going to say, but just be careful out there as we see severe storms approaching our area. We'll keep you updated all day right here on 620 WTMJ. Jeremy Janine joining us as he does every Thursday here on Point Taken. All right, Jeremy. Third Ward, historic Third Ward, as they like to call themselves. I'm not saying they're a bunch of complainers. They like to bring up things that bother them, though. Maybe I'll put it that way. Is that a nicer way of saying that? Maybe.
We can look at Hanson's Landing and the building that it's attached to on the river.
Right.
That is, I believe, the highest value residential building in the state of Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of attorneys live there, and there are lots of opinions that emanate from that building. And they have a legitimate gripe with what's happening near their building.
So this reporting that you're going to talk about today has to do with noise.
Noise. So if you're on East Erie Street, Erie and Water Street, and you follow that the entire way to the lake, if you're a big music fan, it's the space behind the amphitheater, the American Family Insurance Amphitheater. Or if you're a naturalist or a runner or a biker, it's where the south end of Lakeshore State Park. There's kind of a no man's land back there.
Yeah.
And legally, it ends up being a no man's land, too, because East Erie Street ends, so it ceases to be a city street. And there's people gathering here, so that legally who controls it is a key question. It ceases to be a city street. It is technically part of the Port of Milwaukee, which is then leased to Milwaukee World Festival, which is then, there's an easement related to Lakeshore State Park with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. And I've been told there are 4 wardens for all of southeastern Wisconsin for the DNR. And we don't want the DNR handing out parking tickets in downtown Milwaukee. That seems like a bad use of resources. But you now have this area, kind of overlooked area, easy to get to, hard to exactly see what's happening there. But late at night, there's lots of noise that emanates there. Underneath the Hone Bridge is another great geographic reference.
All right, what's this boom car thing you're talking about?
It is a shorthand way to describe a car that is deliberately, in Milwaukee we can go to motorcycles too, deliberately souped up to make an excessive amount of noise.
Which is a perfect segue to my next comment. Look, I understand maybe on the motorcycle thing, but anybody who deliberately makes their car, vehicle, truck noisier for whatever reason you've decided is an idiot. I don't know how I can say it in any other nicer way than that or worse way. It's just dumb. There's no reason to do that. And I always am fascinated by the people that do this. Like, you're spending your own hard-earned money. You're making your car an outlier, and everyone has to, so they look at you, and often these cars aren't worthy, or vehicles aren't worthy of the attention. I don't get it. Maybe motorcycles make sense. That's an awareness that we know that you're there. Totally get that. Vehicles, we already know you're there. You're driving around in the streets. We're on the streets too. We can see you. Beyond that, I know that they're looking at some of the potential to sort of remodel or redo that area. How likely is that?
So the DNR is between a $6 and $10 million plan, which is there's no lights down there. Let's add lights. Let's rebuild all the pavement. That's not going to happen in part because it requires state authority. Not going to happen anytime soon because it requires state authority. DNR also is only supposed to spend money on land that it owns, which, as I went through, they do not own this land. They just kind of control it. So they have a $15,000 plan, which is to put up a gate, and that's going to happen this fall.
Is that a secure gate? Is that what they're talking about? Or just you can't drive past that?
You can't drive past it. It's supposedly going to be remote controlled, which I'll be curious to see what the next issue is of the gates not open.
There's literally some remote state worker controlling the gates. I don't know.
Well, it becomes complicated because it's also the gate to get to the back of the amphitheater for Summerfest.
Yeah.
It is the gate for emergency vehicles to get to Lakeshore State Park. And there's a lot of people out there on certain days. So it's an important point to have a controlled access to. But then the issue is dirt bikes are a big factor here. People making all kinds of noise, running around in packs on dirt bikes, often teenagers. Well, the bike trail, the Riverwalk area, has to stay open. That's not part of the gate. And part of that's so people have access to fish right up by the lighthouse there. Well, what are we going to see happen with the dirt bikes? Are they just going to go around it, or are they going to get the message and simply go somewhere else?
So you talk to residents. I know one of them cited in your piece. Do they feel like they're being listened to? Or no?
They themselves are making lots of noise, and the squeaky wheel is getting the grease here.
Right.
So I think they feel like there's things happening. They want it to happen faster. They're acknowledging that, while this is legally complicated, we want things happening.
He is Jeremy Janine. Take an early break here. Lots more to talk about, including an election-related story that I think is fascinating and something that I think I mentioned at once after this happened on election night. We'll get to that story with Jeremy Janine, urbanmilwaukee.com, after this on 620 WTMJ.
While you rest on the weekends, we work for you. Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins. The latest in news.
Public Museum. They're not going to be known by that name anymore.
Entertainment.
I couldn't believe they announced even more performers in all genres.
And more.
I'm doing all of my Pope research. What can I find out about the Pope? I found out that his childhood home was on the market.
Every Sunday morning starting at 8 on WTMJ.
Hey, I love talking about this. WTMJ Steve Scaffidi with a special announcement. You've heard me talk about this, right? I'm going to Hawaii with you. We're already halfway there, by the way. Rose just gave me an update. November of 2026, not this year, next November. Plenty of time, but I'll tell you why in a bit why you have to sort of sign up now. We're inviting fans, listeners to the show, to join me and my wife Kathy and Rose Gray from Fox Road Travel. 3 islands, Hawaii, love that, Maui. We're going to visit coffee plantations and really cool stuff. Pearl Harbor, of course. I try to do a military piece of any trip I take. We're going to do the luau experience. You got to do that if you're in Hawaii. Maui Aquatic Center. It's an active itinerary, but get this. The brilliance of Fox Road Travel. They built in 3 free days. You can do whatever you want. You can hang out by the pool, drink your Mai Tais. I just recently discovered banana daiquiris. Amazing. Never had one before. Had one in Vegas. I'll have one out there. Here's what you got to do. Go to 866-GO-FOX-GO. 866-GO-FOX-GO. Or visit my show page at WTMJ.com. All the information. You don't want to miss out. This is what I was talking about earlier. Early booking discount. It's substantial, but you got to do that pretty soon. It's called Best of Hawaii, and it's going to be the best. And we're going to have a blast. We're already halfway sold out. It will sell out. Call today, Fox Road Travel, 866-GO-FOX-GO.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
I'm not against shopping online. In fact, you can check out our huge selection at BurkhartSportingGoods.com. But when you're ready to buy, Burkhart should be your only stop. Because here, you can grab hold of the Midwest's largest selection of baseball bats, gloves, and equipment, and take all the swings you need in our indoor batting cages to make sure you buy the right bat. And when you buy your new mitt, we'll steam and custom fit it for you right on the spot. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love baseball and softball like we do, you can't beat Burkhart. If you're in charge of uniforms and equipment, you want to get the most value for your team's budget. You want the most for your money, and you want the process to be easy. Because you already have enough on your plate. We get it. Burkhart Sporting Goods Team Outfitting Division is the best you'll find. With an abnormally high customer satisfaction rate and our own silk screening and embroidery facility for quality control. So if you want the highest quality team outfitting and incredible service, you can't beat Burkhart.
Oh, thanks for tuning in on this Thursday edition right here at 620 WTMJ. Jeremy Janine, urbanmilwaukee.com, his great writing on a lot of local stories that, frankly, they cover better than anybody else. All right, so you and I talked, I think, election night about this. Not having enough ballots. It's sort of a big deal when you're going to vote on election night or whenever, and they don't have enough ballots. They're going to expand the number, apparently.
In Milwaukee, there's about 180 polling places. That stays consistent regardless of the scale of the election. On election night, April 1st, it was thought that 7 of them had, and this will get to an issue of why the numbers are moving. It was thought 7 of them had actually ran out of ballots. And it turns out it was actually 9 of them. And there was another group, 69 of the 180 experienced some level of shortage where they were raising concern. That caused what Election Director Paulina Gutierrez detailed last week to the Judiciary and Legislation Committee. this rolling series of issues that just broke down every process that the Election Commission had.
It's a weird story because you want people to go vote. You're excited that more people showed up, but at the end of the day, we got to have balance for these people. And I also, having run a city, I know there's cost associated with that. Have they talked about that piece of this and what that might do to budgets that are often very tight?
We, the public, have not gotten a specific number yet of what it costs. So the plan is now, for every April spring election, there's going to be a Supreme Court election on every election through like 2030 or 2031. They're going to, for every registered voter, which is something like 120,000 minimum in Milwaukee, they're going to print a ballot for that person. They don't expect that many people to show up every time, but this is the CYA be prepared amount of ballots. Because what happened is in January, Paulina Gutierrez, the head of Milwaukee's elections, ordered a turnout, I think it was 45%. Then all the Elon Musk spending started happening and all the other outside spending. So she increased it by like 10% more, and it still wasn't enough. And it was very disparate impact. The issue is primarily on the northwest side of the city, but the ballots are stored in the southeast side of the city. So even driving the ballots to the polling places was becoming a nightmare.
Is there a general consensus on how Gutierrez did in the administering of this election?
There seems to be in the council a belief that she is process-oriented and is building processes that are, unlike what has happened in the past, well documented, which isn't a knock on anyone in the past, just that she is really building a system that could outlive her or anyone else. Someone comes in, picks up the Bible on how to run elections, and it's all written out.
Got a little time before the bottom of the hour news, which for you kids is 11:30. Harley surviving the ouster by its second biggest shareholder, try to get the CEO out. What do you make of that story?
We have not heard the end of this. Jochen Zietz, Harley announced, he's been CEO since February 2020. He's been on the board since 2007. He had this Hardwire initiative, and H Partners, a New York hedge fund, is basically concluded very publicly that we don't think it's working. We don't think your work from home policy is working. We don't think your response to the DEI challenge that I think it's Robbie Starbuck mounted against the company, no criticism of the DEI policies, but of the response to it. That was bad. And the biggest thing is you're underperforming the S&P 500 for a long time now. They tried to get Zietz and two other board members tossed. That didn't work. They narrowly failed by 2 percentage points yesterday. But they claim that Harley has been going around privately and confirming that Zietz is out and these two other board members are out. So their thing was, we lost the battle, but we won the war.
It's an interesting story because, one, it's a iconic brand in our city, in our state for that matter, but it's something that we are known for. And the fact that it's having some issues sort of, I don't know if transitioning is the right word, but just figuring out where this market, this industry, this sector goes next, it's not easy. I mean, I have a lot of friends who own Harleys. They're not inexpensive. They've tried to craft a different version of that to make that more affordable, but with mixed results. So it's a challenging industry at a challenging time for companies.
Going back to when I was in college during the Great Recession, and you said you have a lot of friends that own Harleys. The challenge is I don't have a lot of friends that own Harleys. And almost 20 years ago when I was in college, I had a professor, business school professor, that was like, in 10 plus years, this is going to be a great case study of how this brand either reinvents itself or is slowly dying off when it faces that its demographics are going against it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a story that we're all going to pay attention to because of who it is. Real quick update on Tierman Spencer case. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but there's not much happening other than it's not going to be plea bargained.
It's not. His attorney was asked after the hearing last week, what are the chances Tierman accepts a settlement? 0, he said, was emphatic. A trial is now scheduled for late October, and I think we're going to see that trial happen.
He is Jeremy Janine, urbanmilwaukee.com. You can find their great work, and you can subscribe to their great reporting. It is one of the best sources for local and Milwaukee area news. After the break for news, which with Julia Fellow and the latest from ABC, we're going to have a couple interesting stories. An open house coming up on 794. This thing is starting to move through the process, and those open houses are a big way to sort of see where that's going. And whatever else is on Jeremy's mind as we sort of kick it around on the show. Don't forget, if you miss any or all of our broadcasts, point taken, any of the shows for that matter on 620 WTMJ, all available on our podcast pages. Easy to find, WTMJ.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget, since I do a lot of them, Scaffidi, sort of everything other than politics. I've had some great conversations about all things other than things I talk about on this show. We have You Need to Listen, which I think is going to be published today, our newest one. I'll let you see what that's going to be. We have Julia Fellow, local news. Before we get to any of that, here's now the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Supreme Court justices are hearing arguments over birthright citizenship. President Trump asking the High Court to allow his executive order to move forward that would restrict birthright citizenship to U.S.-born children to parents without legal status. A lower court temporarily blocked that order. ABC's Selena Wang is outside court where protests are also taking place.
Outside of the Supreme Court, there's a group of protesters, and I spoke to folks who traveled from across the country, including a sizable group that came from California, and they're protesting not only the administration's stance on birthright citizenship, but also the president's immigration and deportation plans overall.
President Trump in Abu Dhabi today meeting with UAE leaders and pledging more business deals. It's his third and final stop on his Middle East trip this week. In Wisconsin, Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan entering a plea of not guilty to federal charges, alleging she aided an undocumented immigrant evade arrest when federal officers arrived at the courthouse. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Julia Fellow. Your top story is about Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan. You just heard she pled not guilty to federal charges. The hearing just took place. Federal prosecutors say she helped an undocumented immigrant avoid ICE agents at the Milwaukee County Courthouse last month. They ended up arresting him after a short foot chase. Her next trial date is set for July. For the first time since 2018, and only the third time in 13 seasons, the last 13 seasons, the Packers will open the regular season at home.
NFC North Division opponents bookend the Packers' schedule. Week 1 at home against the Lions and Week 18 on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. A Week 2 Thursday night contest against the Commanders at Lambeau is one of 4 primetime games for the Packers. Another Thursday game comes Thanksgiving Day at Detroit. The earliest bye week for any NFL team is Week 5. That's when the Packers will enjoy a week off. 4 of the Packers' final 6 games of the season will be played on the road. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is currently up 121, S&P 500 up 13, NASDAQ is down 14. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Let's take a look at your roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. The only thing I see right now is 4194 north, about a half mile past Ryan Road. The right shoulder is blocked because there is a disabled vehicle, and there's major backups at this time. Everything else looks normal. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Be weather aware. There are chances of hurricane-force wind gusts, if you can believe it, threatened by storms that could pack some strong tornado possibilities. Severe storms tonight from 5 to 8 o'clock. We will be on top of that. The low tonight will be 55 degrees. Tomorrow, there's a chance of evening showers and storms, a high of 81. Saturday, cloudy and breezy, a high of 63. Sunday, cool, a high of 55. Monday, cool, a high of 54. Right now in Kenosha, it's 68 degrees. In Madison, it's 77 degrees. And in Green Bay, it's 70 degrees. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
Get help for your house this Saturday from Eric Brown. The president of Siding Unlimited knows his stuff. Yes, their name is Siding, but they do so much more. Windows by Pella and others, roofing, decks. That's why they are Siding Unlimited. Eric can advise you with anything about your home's exterior. Make a point to listen and call Eric this Saturday on WTMJ's Fix It Show. And remember why they are called Siding Unlimited. They are siding and much, much more. See sidingunlimited.com and you'll see.
Hi, this is Julie Coombs and Cindy Stormfisher with Stormfisher Investment Group. Are you a retiring professional? Worried about the direction of our economy? About making your money last?
Come see what we can do for you. Let us show you how we take care of you to help you have a great retirement.
We are at 262-796-8400 or stormfisher.com. See you soon.
Securities offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Osaic Advisory Services LLC. Osaic Advisory. Osaic Wealth and Osaic Advisory are separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, and services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth and Osaic Advisory.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
May is Stroke Month, and the American Heart Association is raising awareness that nearly 80% of the 800,000 strokes each year are preventable, treatable, and beatable. Spotting a stroke FAST can make a difference. If you see face drooping, arm weakness, or speech difficulty, it's time to call 911 and get help on the way. Tune in May 16th to Wisconsin's Midday News to learn more about American Stroke Month and hear an amazing story of survival. To learn more, visit stroke.org/stroke month.
Summer in the city, back of my neck getting dirt and gritty. Bend down, isn't it a pity?
Happy Thursday, everybody. Point Taken is the program. Kristen is off today. She'll be back tomorrow along with Bill McCoshen and Joe Zapecki. Jeremy Janine from UrbanMilwaukee.com in studio. A little election cleanup before we move on to 794.
There was a key thing that we didn't discuss. 9 places ran out of ballots. The question is then, what happened to those people? The short answer is we don't know. There is no one that definitively told the Election Commission, according to Paulina Gutierrez, that they could not vote. But what we don't know, we being the proverbial we, the people, is if someone looked at that and had to wait an hour or two for the ballots to arrive, did they just leave? Did they call it up? And thankfully, it seems Milwaukee's votes were not the deciding factor at any point in any of the elections that were on the ballot. But just looking at what the Election Commission does going forward, one of the challenges is the warehouse where all the ballots are stored, and the ballots are printed not by the city of Milwaukee in most cases, but a third party, is in the southeast corner of the city at the edge of Bayview. The places that we're running out of ballots are, if you just want to indicate it, like up towards Northridge Mall. And then, okay, you just call someone to drive them there. Well, the city didn't know, because it's never had this level of stress before, where those couriers it calls and where its employees are. So it couldn't call Joe because it knows Joe is on his way back to Bayview and say, hey, I got a delivery for you to go up north. So that really broke down, and it was an hour or two wait minimum to get the ballots up to those places.
Yeah, and that's concerning. I mean, we don't want anyone showing up day of the election and being told, yeah, it's going to be a while, and then they leave, because that's not the ability to exercise your right to vote in this country, which is a guaranteed right under the Constitution. So I think that is something that we have to pay attention to. And just it gives me just a chance to quickly talk about the fact that we have to, in the state of Wisconsin, this is for the legislature, we have to approve the counting of these ballots during the day of Election Day or pre-polls closing, because it just other states have had great results doing this, Florida being the most glaring example. They were the horrific example in 2000, but they've gotten their act together and often the first state to report on the East Coast. It's an example of what actually taking the politics out of it and just doing the right thing when it comes to the administration or election, how it makes so much sense. All right. Pivot to 794.
All right.
Or as they say in the transportation business, change lanes.
Change lanes. So right outside the door to 794. We are talking about the stretch of 794 that runs between the Marquette interchange to the Hone Bridge. We're not necessarily talking about the Marquette interchange. We're not talking about replacing, rebuilding the Hone Bridge, but that east-west stretch through downtown. It's from the 1970s. No matter what, it needs to be rebuilt. It's old, aging concrete, particularly the stretch east of the river that wasn't rebuilt as part of the Marquette interchange project. So we're now years into this discussion of what are we going to do with it? Well, finally, we're going to get on May 29th, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation is going to give options. It appears they're going to give us 4 options of what they want to do.
So this is one of those things that comes up when we talk about freeway stuff. There's always those who do not like freeways. There's always those who want them to look and act and work differently. And I think these public forums, these sort of open meetings are a good chance for people to do that. And I know there's always legal challenges. Some of the stuff that we're seeing now with the I-94 East-West is going to be consumed by a lot of that over the next few years. Massive amounts of money committed to this project. But this is a question that came in for you when the texter found out you were on the show. If this gets removed, and I think they mean down to the street level, right? Yep. That traffic's got to go somewhere. I know it's not a huge volume, relatively speaking, for a downtown, especially compared to other downtowns. But it does have to go somewhere, and does it add traffic to some already congested other areas, including your community, Bayview area? I think it's a fair question to ask.
Absolutely, and that I think is why it's one of the reasons we're seeing this meeting was delayed. Just to kind of set the stage, the 4 options we're likely to see from the state are rebuild it exactly as is, Then we're going to see two options that are, and we know this because they revealed them in a stakeholder meeting earlier that our Milwaukee reported on. We're going to see two options that would slim down the freeway's footprint. And part of how they would slim it down is remove exits downtown. And the reason there's two options for that is there's left-hand exits or there's right-hand exits in their variants. And then the last option is a boulevard option. And the texter is asking about the boulevard option. They're asking the right question. Where does that traffic go? And that's been a question the city of Milwaukee has admitted it's asking of state officials. For perspective, there's about 70,000 cars a day that use this stretch of 794, but only 26,000 go end to end. So we can assume that those other 50 or so thousand are people that are going downtown or that they're originating the trip downtown. They're leaving downtown to go somewhere else. So using the perspective of my wife, who's one of these people that drives through it, she goes from Bayview up to the northwest side of Milwaukee. How does her trip change? Depending on what speeds we see on this proposed boulevard, how long do they think it'll take? She might just continue to go through downtown, but instead of flying through on a freeway, she'll be on grade. Or she could end up on Oklahoma Avenue and zooming over to Holt, or she could end up going up to Beecher and Lincoln. So there will be traffic impacts. That's particularly a question that the port has raised. The port has this wider road that serves it from Beecher, but there's not a lot of traffic on it. So that's one of the things I'll be very curious to see what the state has with its models at the meeting. One of the other things I want to look at is just what they think the footprint would be downtown for the actual freeway if it was a boulevard.
Sort of related, but not really. The Couture area, that area on the street level east of the Couture facing the lake. When is that going to be redone? Is that part of this too?
So there's two projects there. Immediately at Michigan Street, immediately next to Couture. That'll happen sometime, I think this summer even or next summer. That's a city project. Then to the south, that on-ramp area that everyone hates, that gets redone as part of this project.
Okay.
For perspective, actually, because that area gives a good context, 26,000 cars. No one has any idea what that means when you say that. Lincoln Memorial Drive, that stretch right there, handles 31,000 cars a day. So that's, if you want an idea of what that traffic volume is, look at Lincoln Memorial Drive.
Well, I changed my path to work a year or so ago because I still took 94 up until, I don't know, sometime last year. And I take the Hone Bridge, and I go north, and I take the left on Michigan and come right to the parking garage here. It works great, but it's an interesting sort of way coming back out of that. So I actually don't take that same route back. I make the out of the parking structure, I'll go back and take that little piece of the 794 elevated to Hone. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I forgot what street that is. Is that Second? No, it's east of that. It's east of the river.
You're talking where it loops around?
Yeah.
Or in the west of the river?
Well, either way. So there's one going east, one going west that loops around to go west. I take those occasionally.
So one of the things that was interesting about when the Park East Freeway came down is travel times actually got shorter because there were more options. You eliminated what are essentially this elevated one-way street to use the street crew to diffuse people. I think one of the things that's happening with your travel is Clybourne is this one-way street going west. The vision we're likely to see from the state is a two-way street, and what does that actually mean? What do they model?
Yeah, so what's the date? Someone asked, what's the date of the open house?
May 29th at the Milwaukee Marriott downtown, 625 North Milwaukee Street from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Open house. Come whenever you are. The exhibits after the meeting will be online on the WISDOT website.
All right, after the break, we got a new corporate headquarters coming to Milwaukee, and it didn't require something that we typically see. We'll ask Jeremy about that and more on 620 WTMJ. Point taken.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
Your showrooms are employee-free.
Give the mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Why?
To save you money.
How much money?
Our 42 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
That's pretty good.
And through Monday, purchase a select Beauty Rest or Silly Posturepedic mattress in any size and receive a free adjustable base. Plus, free next-day delivery and free financing's available too.
I like the way you do business.
Find the self-service employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
For those with a warm weather fashion passion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Hey,
it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Hey, Mom, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
Talking with Jeremy Janine, UrbanMilwaukee.com this hour on sort of local issues, everything from 794 to... and actually, I'm not going to jump ahead yet. There's a lot of questions on the same theme on the text line, Citing Unlimited WTMJ Talk and text line. They go like this: what happens when the bridges go up for the traffic on the river in the summer? How do you get over the river when boats are coming through? All that stuff. Those are sort of the considerations that are going to have to be figured out, right? Because travel times matter, and moving people around, mobility is still the reason for roadways.
We'll see at the meeting. I hope to see hard data on actually how many times those bridges go up. I'm sure almost everyone in Milwaukee has at some point been stuck waiting for the Wisconsin Avenue Bridge or another bridge downtown to go up. The question there, the issue is when you switch from a freeway to a boulevard, it's going to come lower. The freeway is high enough right now that it doesn't have to open and close. The boulevard would be. Then how often does it have to open and close under a normal scenario? The real question gets back to like the Northwest Territory, because the waterway is actually a priority.
I was going to ask you that.
So that there are a couple with, I'm going to go way out on a legal limb here. It's something with the Coast Guard, I believe, of who's got what window is a priority. There's like a rush hour window. I think there's one in the morning, but there's a longer one in the evening. It's between like 4:30 and 5:30. The bridges aren't supposed to be open. Could you extend that? What is the legality of doing that? I know that ends up in the Federal Register when there's decisions. It gets wonky, and I hope we'll see an explanation here, because that is a serious issue that needs to, okay, can we mitigate it, or no, that's a deal breaker?
I know this. There will be lawyers.
There will be lawyers, yes.
All right. Apparently we're getting a new headquarters, and it didn't require a subsidy.
Yes.
Which is sort of a rarity nowadays.
It didn't require a city subsidy. The state gave a token subsidy to it of $500,000. But Enerpac Tool Group Court is now connected to the 620 WTMJ studios because it's a Westtown tenant in what is now the Enerpac Center. It was the ASQ Center. Enerpac, you probably know them as Exuent, and they were a kind of an industrial holding company. Starting in about 2020, 2019, they bet on their Enerpac division. Simple explanation of what they do is they make equipment that's hydraulic that lifts stuff, and that means they lift train cars or they lift the roof of American Family Field when it needs to be repaired.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so this is sometimes very small handheld equipment, or it is absolutely massive equipment.
Any idea on number of employees?
There's about 130 employees that now work in what is the Enerpac Center. They lease the entire 4th floor, what used to be the Gimbals building, nice terracotta-clad building. They have 2,100 employees spread across the globe. There's about 500 in Wisconsin. You're like, what are those other 400 in Wisconsin? They're almost all in manufacturing jobs. They have 2 plants in Wisconsin.
Jeremy and Janine, one more segment. We'll find out what is on his mind to cover what meeting he's looking forward to standing in and reporting on. We'll get all that information from Jeremy and Janine, urbanmilwaukee.com. After this, Point Taken on 620 WTMJ. Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
A lot of law firms claim to be experts at handling injury cases that involve large trucks. But handling one trucking case does not make you an expert on the subject. Experience matters in these cases. One local firm has handled 25 trucking cases which resulted in payments over $1 million each, and hundreds of others as well. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
Start your weekend tonight with a free dinner at the historic and gorgeous Fox and Hound Supper Club. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Fox and Hounds. It is the best dining value in the state. Your second dinner is always free. Steak, ribs, seafood, pasta, a big fresh salad, any dinner item on the menu, your second one is free. Desserts and ice cream drinks, yeah, and they're huge. Buy one, get one free. So relax with your favorite beverage in the 8 unique dining rooms or on the patio in the woods. Spectacular views. I love the patio. Celebrate a birthday, an anniversary, or just a quiet dinner with your sweetie. Your second dinner is always free. The Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the beautiful Holy Hill Shrine. The drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest is a must-see. Weekends might be too busy. Enjoy your free dinner tonight. And the Friday Fish Fry is all you care to eat and one of the best. Visit foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. Enjoy your free dinner. Tables are open. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend inside the Exposition Center at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, cold tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% on all in-stock models. This weekend only inside the Exposition Center at Wisconsin State Fair Park.
Hey, check us out, Wisconsin. We have got you covered on Experience Wisconsin. We've got a great show coming up this week. I love what we do here. We spin you around the state, take you to the people and places and things that are happening that make Wisconsin so super special. On this week's show, which, by the way, is Saturdays at 1 on WTMJ, we've got a triple header for you. Kenosha, Sheboygan, and Lake Geneva. Fun on the water, fun on the land, hotels and restaurants. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturdays at 1 on WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
A few more minutes left of the Thursday edition of Point Taken. Kristen will be back tomorrow for those asking, and I'm sure she'll have a lot on her mind. She's doing some great stuff in Madison the last couple days. Jeremy, Janine, what are you going to be thinking about covering this week?
I was looking at my calendar. I've got a pretty full list coming up. We have the Redevelopment Authority this afternoon, which might put people to sleep, but that is where we just talked about the lack of subsidies, but subsidies actually originate in the city of Milwaukee. There's 2 affordable housing developments being advanced, one both in the Harambe area near kind of MLK and North, if you're looking for a geographic reference. One would build almost 60 single-family homes. There might be some duplexes mixed in with that. With a target of home ownership. Another would renovate what is becoming dilapidated apartment building and create new quality housing out of this old building. The city is making essentially minor financial commitments to both that'll be repaid by property tax revenue. Staying on housing, tomorrow morning there is a Milwaukee, I labeled it the Milwaukee Community Land Trust, but it's the Community Development Alliance bus tour of all the different housing projects happening in Milwaukee in terms of different housing initiatives that we touch on. So look for coverage on that in urban Milwaukee. And then Friday evening is the Mayor's Design Awards. Not great for radio, but a lot of visuals of what the best looking buildings in Milwaukee are. No surprise, things like the Couture are included.
Yeah, there's some great architecture in the city. And I've talked to people that have actually taken trips to Milwaukee for the first time that say, oh my goodness. And it's not just the Calatrava. It's just like some of the cool architecture, the building styles that we have. It's all over the board from really old to really new, like the Couture.
What I like about the Mayor's Design Awards is they award not just the big, shiny, sexy project, but they look at like small little business rehabs. Like, did you take an auto body shop and make it into a restaurant? And it looks really nice. We're going to award that too.
All right, give me your Giannis take. Could you live with a Bucks reality that did not include Giannis Antetokounmpo?
As an NBA junkie, I understand the ramifications of needing to trade him. The cupboard is quite bare for the Bucks right now. They are in dire straits.
I would say this. I'll answer my own question. I understand they have challenges, and certainly losing Dame for however long that's going to be is not helpful to this equation because he sucks up a lot of that capital you need to get and acquire players. But I enjoy watching Giannis play. And if you surround him with some young players, this could be a pretty fun, competitive team that people want to watch. I lived through some bad Bucks years, and I was here since the beginning. And I actually used to hand out things in my high school years at the old arena to people going to the Bucks games, and then that was Lou Alcindor days. So I've seen it all. And I've seen the rough years when we didn't have great teams. It's not fun to go through.
I had season tickets for a couple of years before Giannis and could not give away my tickets on many nights. I think just the depressing thing about where the Bucks find themselves is they just don't have draft picks going forward to get those young players.
So put us in the yes, keep Giannis category.
Yeah, it make basketball more fun in Milwaukee.
There you go. Jeremy Janine will do it again next Thursday. Thanks as always for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Lots of news to cover. That's coming up next on 620 WTMJ.
Lake Geneva is the Midwest's premier golf destination.